Here we go. That's the official intro.
Fantastic.
Welcome to CinemaAttic.
That will be the beginning of the meeting today. So again, Alberto, let's get in track. We are going to talk about CinemaAttic, as we said, 10 years, maybe more, and hopefully another 10 or maybe more ahead of us. What we do, promote independent Ibero-American cinema in Scotland and beyond. Why we do it, Alberto?
Well, we do it. I guess it's a big question. We can't live without doing it. When I arrived here, like 8 years ago, to Edinburgh, I wanted to be part of. You know, I thought there will be an institute or something promoting Spanish culture here, and there was nothing like that, particularly Spanish films. And then, you know, as you know, there was a thing called CinemaAttic, and we started to go as audience, simply going, watching the shorts as Val, Monica, Davide. Well, Davide is part of the team now, but as many people do, and somehow life has taken us to now be, you know, coordinating the whole thing. But I guess it's a way of life. We said a lot of times, it's a way of life.
It's a way of life. It used to be a hobby. It's now more like a penitence. But it's so enjoyable and so really...
It's funny that even in live stream, Rafa, I can't stop like moving my hand so much, like in the intros.
Well, I have one hand in the mouse and the other in the glass, so slowly. So, yes.
CinemaAttic quarantena, no?
Yes,
how everything started? Like, we were going to celebrate 10 years of CinemaAttic anyway this year, and we were planning events and some more things that we can't tell yet, because we hope that there will be a normal world eventually in 2020 or 2021, and we can do those things. But what we were, I think, quick were on reacting, no? To, right, we have these many films that we were planning to show to celebrate 10 years of CinemaAttic. Let's try and adapt that and offer them online. And surprisingly, the response from directors, many of them have the films already live. Some of them are classics and are available online. The response was pretty positive, and here we are, no? We have about 13, 14 programs of 7 shorts. So we have films for the next couple of months, 3 months.
That's great. And it's great to see the films back again. Some of the stuff comes back periodically. I guess most of the CinemaAttic catalog, because they were celebrating as well the anniversary 2 years ago, and we had this big retrospective last year, and some others, but some of them have been there for ages. I mean, Gabi or Skipper, or
Gabi, Skipper, Arturo, or Odysseus, they are great.
Odysseus Gambit, how important is that film? I remember we watched it in Summer Hall, in the Red Lecture Theatre, 100 years ago.
I'm hoping like people are feeling this, but for me, the whole process of getting back and doing the exercise of thinking, right, which are the important films for us, films that we forgot, films that we used to show in 2013, 2014, when you and I will go just as audience, you know, and we will watch films and we will say, wow, that was powerful, but we forgot. We've been showing them films for 6 years and we forgot about them. And it's so great to bring them back and watch them and see how people are reacting to, you know, to Gabi, to Odysseus particularly. A lot of people liked Odysseus Gambit.
Oh, he's a bomb. I mean, he's an amazing, the different layers of information going on that film, while he's a victim and there's a bit of a huge accusation of being kidnapped and his family assassinated, and at the same time he's crucial on the kind of comic community around that popular place. I think it's Washington or New York or whatever it is, where he plays chess. and there's so many people who knows him and says hello to him and talks to him and is part of his day. So
do you feel a bit? Do you feel a bit like Odysseus like the guy of Odysseus Gambit? Do you feel a bit like instead of playing chess, we are showing some Spanish short films, but we are trying to make people.
Well, I don't know if we are as wise as he is, and I don't know if we are.
Definitely not.
This kind of, but well, I guess certainly I get a pleasure of showing films, and there's few films that talk about it. Very famously, Cinema Paradiso, and now new Cinema Paradiso, but also The Projectionists and so many others. No? They talk about the pleasure of looking.
Go ahead.
Films. Sorry.
We spoke about this a lot of times in our private chats with friends, with amigos, but I think before the pleasure for film, I don't know what came before, the pleasure for films or the pleasure for sharing films. Sometimes I feel like films are only a tool or a mean to come together to share something with people, and I'm interested in the persons behind the directors, in the human beings, and the people behind the audience, the directors, and just that human part of everything we do in society.
Well, yes, that's the point. You can watch a film in your home, but showing it to people is so strong. It's such an important thing to do, and secret pleasure. No, it's somebody said it. No, cinema is something you enjoy collectively in an individual way, and it's very clever. The paradox that are in the films we were talking about, Odysseus Gambit, and that's the paradox as well. The victim is as well as also the solution, no, and the healing, the healer.
Yeah. So you have along these lines, Rafa, you have a lot of people that are really like do like film theory and are brilliant curators, in the sense of curating a program of films and theorizing and explaining you everything. And I feel sometimes like we are a bit of, yes, we machiavellically, put the program together in a specific order and want to provoke some thoughts, but we try to keep it not solemn at all, no? We don't want to keep it, we want to talk about the importance of films, but not too seriously. It's a mixture between social activism, circus, and film programming, curation, if you want to say. But I like something I like a lot is that we don't have it, we don't take ourselves too seriously, and even our films sometimes.
No, well, we take it seriously. No, we have done a lot of work with CinemaAttic, and really it would be great to keep going, to consolidate that growth, and make sure that CinemaAttic can carry on beyond what we do now. Mm-hmm. It would be great, those projects we have, traveling with CinemaAttic to remote areas, to be able to do them once the lockdown is over, once the virus is under control, and obviously safe to do so. Okay. And it would be great to expand to the cities. Dundee was an experience. We opened there in November, December with the Catalan Film Festival. And we had 3 shows. One was very good. The other was a sold out, Journey to a Mother's Room. And the third one was still well attended for foreign films with subtitles.
First time in Dundee, eh?
On a Saturday night, competing with every other thing. That was our Catalan Film Festival. Just there. Yeah. Look, I have a poster as well from Chris Sembe, Viaja Pies, which I believe is going to be showing as well in our program of Quarantena.
It's a spoiler. It's coming up. Of course, it's part of the program.
It's coming. He's been twice, no, with Laura. Mm-hmm. Fantastic.
I can see, sorry to interrupt, Rafa, I can see people there, but they are not sending us pictures, no?
They should show photographs of themselves.
I want to see pictures of how you're enjoying your vermouth. If you're drinking a beer, or olives, or snacks. Hello, Luis. Hello, Val. Yeah, Val says, it's amazing how time flies when you have fun. Indeed, no? We forget if it's been 10 years, 12 years, 9 years, since we started you and I, 6, 5, 7, we're not sure. It seems like it was yesterday.
Oh man.
Shall I explain, Rafa, the cinematic quarantena, or maybe throw a question? We can ask for thumbs up in comments if everyone understood well the dynamic. We selected about 90 films, 90 short films that are important to cinematic. Some are simply the best short films, so we think are the best short films made in Spain in the last decade. Some are beyond that decade, are from the 90s. We never respect very strictly rules at cinematic. And some others are simply important to us, or remind us of a special night in 2013 or 2014. So we have that collection of 19, and we split them in small batches of 7. You can also tell us if 7 are a lot, if you struggle this week with 7, if you want 5 or 6 or 8 instead. But everyone understood the dynamic. We announce every new program on Monday in our website and in Facebook, and it remains active until Sunday, until tonight, 11:30. So you can watch them until then and vote. And all we ask for again is people to vote and to comment. So I can see that Luis is online, and Luis has watched the films because I know it, and he hasn't voted. So Luis, you have to go before tonight and vote for your favorite.
Get that mobile off the screen.
That's Anna. That's Anna. You need to tell Anna to stop making stories on Instagram, or otherwise it will keep buzzing.
If you put the mobile a bit away. A ver, we have a problem. Mónica Mendoza not taking a pic of me on my pajamas drinking. Laugh, laugh, laugh. I don't know why. We are locked down. This is now family. I mean, the CIA, the MI5, they see you all the time through the cameras in your flat. Cinematic can't do it too.
Okay.
That's it.
Val is raising something interesting. Val already said twice that he's impressed about how we keep surprising people every month. Hopefully we keep that surprise factor now every week. But it's true that it sounds cliche, and we say it a lot in the events, but there is no cinematic like the previous one. Like every month is, sometimes it's really varied, sometimes it's in the same line, sometimes we focus on, not a lot of them, on genre, sometimes it's more documentary or creative documentary. But every month it feels, no, like almost unintentionally or intentionally, it becomes a very different cinematic from the previous one. If you think on Mediterráneo, Mujeres, Animación, no?
Well, that's the important thing. I think we always wanted to have this, to bring to the screen histories that matter.
Mm-hmm.
And histories that they provoke a conversation in the hope, optimistic hope that there will be a spark, a wee spark that will trigger a wee change. And why not? Why not? I mean, we certainly could do more for the planet, but we do a little bit against discrimination, against solitude, and for a future without that kind of unfairness. And the film is such a great tool to bring those subjects on the table. And I think our audience is not specifically Spanish or non-Spanish, left or right. I think we have quite a wide segment, of people coming over, people who from different arts of life.
I told you the other day, but a couple of weeks back, I was talking to Jared, and he said, you know why that element happens? You feel like, all right, it's not like a Spanish ghetto. Like you go here, Spanish people that want to see some Spanish culture and get together, maybe. But you have the side of Scottish audiences or international audiences that simply want to watch films or have a good time on all days social, it's open. And he said something like, because it's not about nationality, it's not about identity, you know, it kind of goes beyond that idea of nationality, and it becomes like a safe, open space where people can simply mingle and have fun and talk about films or have a drink. And that was beautiful coming from Jared. But I hope some other people feel a bit like that.
I hope so. Yeah, no.
Val seems to be agreeing with that. Val says to be agreeing with that.
Laura Ra, a photographer,
Laura,
CinemaAttic.
We're never gonna forgive you. We did focus on Colombia, and you didn't came, Laura. We will never forgive you.
Didn't come.
No, and we will never forget.
Laura, doing this to CinemaAttic.
I'm gonna go for a beer, Rafa. I'm gonna bring a beer when I finish this, and we can maybe start with the films if you want, if you fancy.
Yes.
Give me a minute.
Where are you going? Ah, you go. Okay, go. I'll wait here. Oh dear, what happened there? That's not Alberto.
I felt like we needed an extra touch.
Estoy en Galicia, Alberto. Where is the blue cup?
Una cerveza de Carallo. Rafa, te las a joke, says Davide.
Laura is trying to apologize through Facebook.
It doesn't
No,
work.
I love you guys. I don't forgive myself for not going to the last one. I have been off with back pain. Laura, we love you. Nevertheless, regardless of your cold indifference towards us, but we love you. So, the films. There were 7, like in all good afternoons.
What you thought about the program, Rafa? You liked it. You thought it was strong. And when I throw this question, I want people to ask. It's a question for the people as well. You can tell us, not so strong as other CinemaAttics. I really liked it, or maybe not.
Well, it is stronger. It's great cinema to be seen. Quite an eclectic choice, no? There's all sorts of post-narrative, experimental, more classic. I mean, the Dramalogia, just to start with the first, is one I think we watched it last year, no, in the Pincho Scroll, and then back in the day, and it's quite a funny one, and it's quite a good production for the time where it was made. The actors, the camera, the whole lot. It's quite an ambitious short film.
Although the photography in the specific in the link that we gave, the photography it looks like it's more 90s than 2000s. I think it's 2007 or something like that, or 2006. So yeah. It's not that old, and the photography looks a bit like it's older, no?
Probably because they wanted to place it on that time, no, in the 90s, something like that.
But yeah, it's funny because
Sánchez Arévalo had a new film, but I haven't seen it. It's called 17.
Yeah.
It looked very good, but I don't know how it did. Sorry, I'm trying to move the camera, so the screen to the lifetime, because I forget, and then I look at Facebook and that goes about 3 to 5 to 10 seconds late. So yes, it would be great to bring that film, no, the 17 is called. And it looked very good. Never seen
it. For me, the film basically, I remember back in the day when he was doing it, there were some interviews when he did, like, I think it was the first feature, Azul Oscuro Casi Negro.
Sí.
He often says that it was a very stressful process, and in the middle of that process, when you're trying to make a film, sometimes it gets delayed. You can shoot that specific year, you have to wait another 12 months or 9 months, and in the middle of that, he was writing this story, Dramalogia, and he often says that was almost like an exercise of recharging batteries. You know, in the middle of stressful process of trying to bring Azul Oscuro Casi Negro into life, he was able to write and shoot this film, and people were trying to persuade him to make of this story a feature film. And he said, no, I have 20 pages of script. I want it to be a short. It has to be a short. And in a way, it's almost like a pitch or like a training exercise for what he does later in Primos, in Gordos, in great comedies.
Gordos is good.
No? Those quick dialogues, funny, improvised. You can tell that some of them are improvised, working with actors. And he starts doing that in this short film, in Traumatología. No?
Absolutely. And then when we go to the second one, Jane Tarzan is not here. Bego Vicario.
One last thing, Rafa, before we move on. Something I like of Sánchez Arévalo and José Mari Guenaga and John Garanyo and these guys is that they win Goyas, they go, with their films, they go all over the world with their feature films, and yet every year or every here and there, they keep coming back to short film. It's something that short film lovers particularly love, no? Like directors that understand some stories are fit for feature film, but yet it doesn't matter how famous you are or how whatever, you often need to tell stories, and you want to make shorts, and you want to get back to short. It's not like you make short films and then you get to feature films and that's it. You just make films. Something I like of Sánchez Arévalo and these guys and Vigalondo and others is that every here and there they return. They return to short film, and they like to tell stories in short film format. I really like that of Sánchez Arévalo in particular. Again,
well,
Jane.
We are reaching over 400 people, Alberto. How come?
400 people?
Over 400 people.
Shit.
Reach.
That's a lot.
Well,
so 400 people are watching me and the cow.
No, they have watchers at some point.
I was not ready for that.
Nothing like having a wee drink of cava. So Jane Tarzan wasn't that cool. What a great name for a very experimental animation by Bego Vicario. Although if you check the credits, there appears a few old friends like Isabel, Guerra, Izibene, and a few others that they seem to be in connection and looking for opportunities to get together and do some work together. No? I enjoy that one a lot. I enjoy it. It's just telling a story in a completely different way. It's the turning the pillowcase upside down and see how coffee things feel.
I remember, and sometimes, you remember the other day we were in Glasgow Film Festival and we watched this film, Blanco and Blanco, and I told you what a difference between watching this in a big theater in Rotterdam and watching this in the perfect screen, in the perfect room. And I felt with this film was a bit the same. I've seen that Jane a lot of times, most of them in a small screen. And I remember the day that Bego was doing her masterclass in the College of Art. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And she showed that film, and I think they changed the equipment and the whole room was renovated recently. And just, in total darkness with people, good sound system, watching those colors move around. Oh my God. Yeah, that's something else.
Yes. We show it as well in CCA with them, no? With Bego and Izibene here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Monica, we share, I think it feels like we share a common taste, no?
I can see our thing, again.
Common taste, no? Do you feel, Rafa, I think I was planning to ask this question later, but do you think we change? The films we like, the films we like, our taste has changed a lot since 2013, 2014 when we started.
I don't know. I think we go deeper into what is possible with cinema, and maybe we watch more cinema than most of the people that comes to our screening. And sometimes maybe I remember people leaving the room thinking, today you put us to the test, eh? And I think that's good. But lately we are not showing easy short films, are we? Comedy is not something that comes easy into the screens, and very experimental, different views do make it automatically. So yes, I hope our audience bear with us, and we had lots of compliments. You remember this friend that says he had never watched a short film before, and now he looks for them online and is very much hooked into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And things like that have happened a lot. So it's good.
But
Alberto, I'm jealous of your olive, so bear with me a bit. I'm going to find something for myself.
Go ahead. The cow and I stay. I agree. And it feels like, you know, if we show that film, the one by Bego, Jane, back in 2013, or I remember the first days of CinemaAttic, going to the films and or when we started to be part of the team and not understanding some of the films, that feeling that many people have now that come to CinemaAttic and we show maybe a experimental film or a film that don't particularly want to transmit a traditional narrative, and leaving the room back then and thinking that was horrible. I didn't like that film, and people kind of telling me you don't have to understand it. You know, you don't need to understand. There's no story that needs to start, continue, and end. No, Rafa?
Absolutely. What were you saying?
I was saying that back in the day, in 2013, 2014, when I was exposing to some of the more experimental films, I will leave the room asking, you know, like, I didn't understand the story, so I didn't like it. Like, you know, it was a bit like ABC approach to films. Like, I didn't understand the story, hence I didn't like it. And with the years, you watch more, you start to appreciate post-narrative stories that don't want to tell a story, just want to be colors and appeal in a more sensorial sense. And we seem to be moving, no, from traditional narratives to more radical. I feel like the stuff that, and often we agree in the same things that we like, tend to be more radical. Yet we enjoy audience pleaser, great comedies, great fictions, but it feels like we moved a little bit, or our gaze certainly has changed a bit, and the way we select has changed. No?
I guess as well is what is available. We do have some comedies now and then, and it's what is available, and there are lots of films. It's amazing. That's so good. There's the production is in Spain and Latin America. Well, I mean, let's not even go there. It's amazing the amount of films being made.
It is really like, it's the time for the people that are watching the live now. It's the time for you to comment there if you want, to say you've gone too far. We just want light comedies. We want to have a good time. We don't like your radical stuff. We certainly normally listen to our audience and take stock and adapt, but without leaving our editorial line, no? Is the time. If you think something should change, if you want more radical films, is the time. You can comment there and tell us what you would like to see in CinemaAttic when the world is normal again. Which one is the third? Odysseus Gambit, ¿no?
Odysseus Gambit. Ese sí que es una maravilla. Well, that is certainly a marvelous piece of filmmaking. The guy is amazing. The guy is absolutely amazing. Strapped in that wee square. He's almost like a homeless fellow full of optimism, managed to be crucial or important in the life of so many. And then he tells you his background, he tells you his story, which is so hard. So it's a paradox there of the guy, how can be so good, so after having such a bad experience with his life, after living such a negative reality. Amazing.
Mm-hmm. I like a lot the edit, the cutting, you know, how the film goes from one format, it looks like a digital camera, to more high quality, you know, the formats of the film, you know, and different takes, particularly how it's cut, the film, and the tempo and the rhythm in that film. And as you're saying, like, we all have in every city people like him, no, like characters incredibly intelligent, knowledgeable, that you just, you know, can keep up the conversation with, of, you know, how smart they are. And they decided to take a political stance and live in a different way, or in this case, is his force into it. But I kind of expected a little bit. I kind of expected that film will be of the taste of the audience. I think it's a film that ages well. You know, some films you feel maybe that didn't age that well with the time. You know, the photography, the story becomes, you know, the society is more embedded into a society they are filming. But this one, it feels like incredibly, you know, it ages well. It's still really strong today when you watch it. I know Luis was texting me, telling me that it was his favorite, and I mean, it's up there with, I think, 13 votes, so it's the second most voted this week.
And do you know what Alex Lora is doing these days?
Well, they did. He was he had a project with Adriana Aliaga, and they were doing, I forgot the title, but they did a documentary that played particularly well in European festivals, and he won awards here as well. Let me find the title. You got me, Rafa. For once, I can't remember the title.
Sorry, but I don't know it either. It's why I wanted to get you.
The Fourth Kingdom, se llama.
Yes.
The Fourth Kingdom. It was a short film transformed into a feature film, and same. They chase in documentary form, but in a very creative documentary way, outcasts. They go into it's not a garbage lot. It's un vertedero. Rafael, ayúdame. Un vertedero, and they follow characters living in a vertedero. And I think the film did pretty well in festivals. The Fourth Kingdom, Documenta Madrid, and several ones.
Vertedero is a tip point, no?
Yep. A dump.
The dump, yeah. So then we get to Sin Dios y Sin Santa María, which is the most experimental one. I love it. I was in this course, as you know, of Super 8 usage, experimental films in Super 8, all the Derek Jarman stuff, and this is fantastic. No, they discovered recordings from Tenerife and Lanzarote, no, and Formentera, no?
Lanzarote. The footage, because they mix old footage.
Lanzarote.
I think from Lanzarote, and sounds from peasants in Tenerife.
Yes, Lanzarote is in Ye. The only time I've been in Lanzarote, I was just there, in Ye.
Yeah, I remember you told me you were staying in the north. Always when I go, I stay like in the center of the island. But that part is brilliant because you have Mirador del Rio there,
Yes, yes. There's several. It's a huge cliff. It's when the island stopped. So,
those cliffs.
So there's these shelters for the wind, and then you can see the. It's a very nice spot, and it has still local people that lives in the old ways, and it's quite crazy.
Are you disappointed that it's not the most voted film? Are you surprised?
I must say, I only bought once instead of like other people have bought several times, and my vote went for this one. I think it's the amazing what they do with the old archive materials, and then the new one they create to fit, to cover the gaps, and how everything is put together. I think it's an amazing work of cinema love and cinema, the way to make
we need more films like that one. We need more films.
Samuel Delgado, Elena Giron, they're amazing in this kind of genre. I don't know if it's a genre or it's a way to make films, no? Using archive materials, found footage, and the way they put it together is amazing. It really looks like they found a cake in a container in an attic, and they play it.
It is literally. I don't know where they found, the material, but it's basically expired film negatives. Negatives of 16mm film, color 16mm film, and is, as you were saying, found footage technique, but it's also found sound techniques, because they play this kind of peasants, tape from peasants in Tenerife. That is almost otherworldly. It's like.
Well, there is. If you watch it carefully, there is something going on in the scenes where this woman, I've forgotten her name, is said at the end in the credits, when she's collecting thin beans from the field. There's kind of a oily thingy going on that helps this kind of dreamy past times feeling, and it's them. It's them doing this kind of animation very much in the way Bego Vicario will do it, no? Well, Derek Jarman or many others will do this kind of what the hell is going on here, but it goes so well. There's different layers. I mean, if you see the film, there's the footage that they have done, okay, with the Spire 16mm negative, then they have put some scratches and things that I don't know how that work well, and then it's this kind of oily projection on top, and it's amazing, the feeling of all the stuff and the darkness that comes all of a sudden like a cloud, and then the cliff. It's all marvelous, really. I love this film. I can watch it so many times.
Everything, the sound, the textures, but it has what you were saying. It has this element of it could be filmed anywhere. It turns that footage from.
Why don't you put the mobile a bit away?
The thing is, Rafa, I'm doing the streaming from the phone, so I can't put it away. I mean, if I put it away, the streaming is over. So it's just, people.
Really?
For next week, I will do it from the tablet or something.
Okay, but I understand now. I thought you were in the computer and the mobile.
No.
We jump skipper.
I could spend the whole hour talking about Sin Dios ni Santa Maria. What a film.
But we jump skipper, which was before the list. Sin Dios and Santa Maria is great. Skipper is the other side of the coin, isn't it? But again, very crazy cinematography. One long shot, I think it's in Madrid, in one of the squares in the old town. And until she obeys that, the camera doesn't move. It's quite a patronizing one, but I love it.
For me, I think it's completely intentional. It's completely intentional. Obviously, I mean, it can't be, and it's this exercise of.
I do it well.
You're drinking the whole bottle.
Not quite yet.
Rafa is on the cover. To me, is really an exercise of respect to the spectator of, I'm going to place the camera here and I'm not going to move it from here. And I'm going to force you to look at a film in a different way. You might want me to go closer to watch their faces. I'm going to stick here. For me, it's really like, obviously very intentional, but it's an element of distance with these two characters, completely intentional. I remember some people were saying, come on, give me something else. You know, it's very basic, it's very skeletic, technically. And yet, I don't know if you're surprised. I'm a little bit surprised, but I'm really happy that it's the most voted film. Do you think?
It's lovely. It might be because the guy at his tender age, he wants to come to Edinburgh, no?
Exactly. I think the Edinburgh connection has something to do.
For those of you watching us from remote places, like, I don't know, Dalkeith or Inverness, we are based in Edinburgh. If you are in Sydney, Australia, we are still based in Edinburgh. And if you are watching this from, I don't know, Brazil, Bogota, things like that,
Louisiana,
based in Edinburgh. The Skipper is a great idea, done amazingly well. She got a Best Actress award, and I was surprised, not because she's an amazing actress, obviously, but I don't think the acting is. Do you think the acting is being highlighted in that very long shot? The camera is quite far away. It's not really using the actors to the best. I would have been. I mean, in Alcaenares, he got the best screenplay. In Toulouse, best short film. But in Festival de Cine de Astorga, best actress for Marta Ralde.
Well, the people in Astorga liked her acting. You know, they liked it. I prefer him in terms of acting. But I think it's also an interesting case. I don't know what you think. We're talking about Sánchez Arévalo and the dialogues and how films age well. Sometimes I feel like the dialogues in this film and the way characters are constructed have not aged that well. It's a feeling, no? Or the language, you know, she's very clearly, I mean, he's playing with juxtaposition of personalities. The dad is obviously lost, trying to find a job, and he's very far from the path that he's supposed to be to find the right job, no? Is the key strength of the film. But even playing with that juxtaposition and with poles apart, the dialogues can fall a little bit into cliche. Sometimes does it feel a bit like that? Some of the quotes, some of the phrases, some of the conversations. Is it me? I don't know. People, comment.
Yeah. Hector is throwing an attack on you, directly to you.
It's particularly with the how the conversations age. You have to put the films into context. I think maybe Skipper and Gabi are the two films that are more attached to the year and the moment and the society when they were filmed. So I don't know.
It's a very good one. And it went very well with the diaspora in those days. No, seeing your father, who is kind of falling a bit out of the mainstream, life keeps going, and the older people obviously start getting left behind. And then, but it's a twist, no? Normally would have been her who says, Dad, I'm sorry to leave you alone, but I'm leaving to a better place. And in this case, he's the one who's going to learn English, managing a crane in Edinburgh somehow.
The audience is always right. We like it or we don't. And sometimes we spend more time, as we were saying, contaminating our gaze or transforming our gaze and our taste, and we like more radical stuff. And Skipper has proven to survive the years, and audience is always right on this. You know, they found some sort of truth, authenticity, something that connected well with everyone, and that's why it looks. I mean, polls are open until tonight, but it's winning. It's so far the winning film, with 3 votes ahead from Odysseus Gambit. Good attrezzo.
And by the way, it's 5 minutes past 2, so probably we should go over the other 2 films and kind of wrap up to keep it within an hour. That's what we
Colin is there. Colin is saying hello, guys. Dile algo a Colin.
Coño, Alfonso.
Alfonso, Colin. Colin, how are you, man? Yes, let's move from Skipper into Gabi, no?
Gabi was a film that back in the day, I really like it. I mean, she's such a beautiful actress, and the story that she tells. But when you watch it again, it's again that is the displacement, no? Living a rural, comfortable area, safety space to go and open a completely different thing in US in a capital, and having a different life, to the point that when she comes back to the house where she grew up, all of a sudden she doesn't belong there anymore. She doesn't gel with her family. She doesn't belong there.
Yeah. And I guess a lot of people probably could felt in her shoes, no? Because it feels that story of many people, like that came to Edinburgh maybe, and have that tension every time they return home. They have to, it's hard to come into terms with who you are and how you change, and feel good with the new person that you are and with how you change. It seems like you have to be someone closer to the community where you used to belong, somewhere closer to who you used to be when you were 15 or 18, and you've changed, and you're in between the new person you think you are in your new place, and the person you used to be, and the people over there wants you to be. And I'm really happy that Raquel was the first one to vote for this film yesterday. I think up until yesterday, the film had no votes, and then it has now 3, 4, 5 votes. I like it, but it's true that we were saying, time has not made it age well in many senses. Some people were texting me this week, Rafa.
I don't know. It's the message is still clear there, and she's such a great actress. She really is strong. I enjoy watching it.
Some people told me that the acting particularly was disgusting. Some people told me that they really didn't like it, the acting of this film. And I think it has to do something just with the way of talking.
The style of Puerto Rico, I think it is, no?
Yeah. I think it has to do something with that Western view of some countries in Central America or in Latin America, of attaching the way they talk or some parts of it to soap opera elements.
Yes. You can
get. You need to be there. It really feels like I've never been in Puerto Rico.
You have to do an effort to get your mind away from those siesta time culebrones, we call them, no? Very dramatic series, but you get a bit of that. I think I don't know if it's histrionism, but the camera is very much on the face gestures, and they are very physical. They really move their bodies and the faces and the hands and give me a break, dame un break.
Give me a break.
Es muy duro, pero give me a break makes sense, but oye, acabo de llegar, dame un break. Es como este Spanglish ahí metido, panga. It's very good.
If you've been in Cuba or in some of these islands or in some of these parts of Central America, really English and Spanish intertwine in that way, and family is huge, it's massive. I like the film, and this one and Odysseus, we were saying we're not looking at the films with the eyes of 2020 programmers looking at films to put into a program. Today is the emotional attachment that we have from the days when we used to show that film and the experience we had when we show that film. So it's an exercise from us to keep something from 2013, 2014 when we showed that film. So for some of those people that might thinking, you know, oh, this is too old, this looks a bit. It's not like we need an excuse, but some of these things are put in that way. We're putting these programs as looking into a family photo book. So it's not like making sense of the program as a whole. It's not about the best films that we see from our eyes from 2020, but it's rather thinking of the past.
To find the best, it doesn't work either. This film worked so well the day we show it. Again, I think was Summer Hall, the Red Lecture Theatre, when that was our headquarters a few years ago. And I remember it going so well. People kind of found interest in the accent, but understood the message. And I still get it. I defend Gabi anytime. One last film, Celatropque, Cutting the Grass, Así la Altura, Chinchua. Fantastic.
It's funny because up until a couple of days ago or until yesterday, Celatropque was at the bottom with 2-3 votes. And in the last 24, 48 hours, it's now in 4th place with 10 votes. It had a progression in the last couple of days, no?
Why don't you write the link to vote here in the comments so people can go and see what they think?
The votes.
Yes.
Well, the votes, everyone can go really to the Facebook event, discussion, and the first one
So go to our Facebook, CinemaAttic, facebook.com/CinemaAttic, events, Quarantena Shorts Week 1, and there you will see the poll and you can vote for whatever you think is best. Also, if you haven't watched these films, you should watch them, and you will find in our website that there's a link above and below the list of films that says support your independent cinema. If you click on that link, you will see why we think they need support, and you will see a few links to discover different ways. It's not only about giving them a tenner, but different ways to really engage with people who really devote themselves to showing good cinema, a varied program. And now they are obviously out of work. So,
yeah, and it's what we were saying. We're not asking for donations ourselves to keep up, and we're gonna need some help eventually, maybe. But
Alberto and I had this idea of going basking, but then we discovered that it wasn't gonna work.
I'm not good with the guitar, and Rafa is not good with the triangle. So
What are you talking about? People come from all over the world to see me playing triangle.
It's true. We're not asking for money for ourselves, but I think we all like cinemas and going to watch a movie to the cinema. So we're not asking for money for ourselves, but every week you're gonna see that we have a link to support your independent cinema in our website, and you can support Filmhouse, GFT, DCA, Eden Court in Inverness, whichever is your closest cinema, whichever you want to support. You can support more than one. But it's important, I think, at the end of the tunnel, we're gonna need to support our local cinemas if we want to keep them to be still open. So yeah, we don't ask for much. We only ask for comments and votes and to keep a conversation with you throughout the week.
We were very upset with this famous change of cinemas, one of the biggest in UK, that fired everybody overnight without thinking on alternatives or taking some of the heat themselves and waiting or whatever. and we posted, and it was so popular. People were kind of really angry about them, and they have reversed the decision. So they have reversed the redundancies, and they are going to go and try to keep the people who was there through this crisis, which is the thing to do.
Val, before we move into Salatrov, Salatrov says that he couldn't follow the film, and it's true. Up to a point, it makes sense what he says, that the film seems like it's lacking something in the short film format. In a way, what she was doing was, she was pitching, like many other directors do, this story into short film format to then develop it into a feature film. And I think a couple of years ago, she released Gabi in feature film. It was a feature film. So it makes sense that maybe some people felt like, like the film maybe doesn't work on short film form or something like that. The director adapted and continued the film and did a feature later.
So, as we were saying, Selatrocke.
Monica, yes, we were saying film house. I mean, if you go to the
Hey, Monica, that language, in pyjama, drinking at home, it's easy, you say.
Monica, when this is all over, we won't forget what, Cineworld cinemas have done to their employees.
Well, we'll see. I mean, it's how do you say it in English? It's the sabios. I've forgotten. It's difficult to retract from something, but they have made a wrong right, and that's fine. No? Selatrocke, Asier Altuna, one of the films that really is best made of him. I like Choke, I like so many others, but this one is one I can... Alberto, what's going on? This is the man that yesterday was almost in tears. Rafa, if you manage, if you behave tomorrow, I'll give you the link to watch this. Or you are promising me things. And look at him. You see, this is a cinema. It's a subtle message against my boldness. He's calling me bold. He's calling me fat, he's calling me old, he's calling me bold. And I hate him, but I have the controls. I'm going to do some perversions.
Laura has a box full of them, so I can show you.
I have muted you, Alberto. I have muted you. Nobody can hear you.
Weeks, so I can show you different weeks every.
I have muted you for a few seconds.
Oh God.
Sorry I did that.
But I have a lot of weeks, believe me.
What a charming revelation.
Selatrocke is maybe the film we've shown the most, no, Rafa? Like Selatrocke, we showed it in programs on Mujeres, we showed it in the Basque retrospective, but we showed it in Edinburgh, in Glasgow, all over the place, because what a powerful documentary, no?
There's a bit of product placement going on in your screen with Estrella Galicia, no? Well, it was, I mean, at least... Yes, we were saying, cinema is such a good tool. We also had Asier over here, and that was one of the best trips we had with directors. I mean, we had many directors and beautiful days with them, up and down. But it was Isabel Guerra, Jean-Marc, and Asier. And we had this weekend going up and down, walking. We went up through seat. All the night as well, drinking and watching the Thames. An amazing Scottish band.
You took us to a punk concert with all the...
It was kind of British R&B, beautiful.
It was
amazing, the Thames.
And Asier was like the first one in the first row.
Yeah, well. No, he was, sorry. I cannot do the hill walking in the morning. And then
do you like his film?
No, I don't. He pays me to put it in. I love it. You remember Amama? We show it. And it was a competition against the Star Wars one.
Mm-hmm.
And we won. Obviously, Star Wars didn't have a chance.
Against Solo, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I remember the film went down so well again. That was Red Lecture Theatre, Summer Hall, and as many directors do, didn't stay to watch it because they have watched it so many times. But then, when the film finished, we were all quiet, taken by the film, really got into us. And I went out just to stop the projector. I bumped into him, and he said, Rafa, that's how a cinema sounds when the film has gone well. And it was well. It wasn't a full room, but it was absolutely taken. Everybody was taken by the film. It's a different style.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but that night we showed, I liked it a lot because we showed Topeka, Celatrovke, and Amama. So you could see the experimental, Super 8, experimental surrealistic side of Asier Altuna, the documentary and feminist side of Asier Altuna, and then Amama, that is sums all those elements of his previous short films, many more than those two. But I really, I liked that we showed those two short films before Amama.
Yes.
Because it kind of prepares you for what you're gonna see. The film is, I think it's one of the films that I share most. Like when somebody, I don't know, sometimes people don't even ask me, and I send to Laura's father, Jose, check this, and sometimes people ask me, and I share the short film. It's probably the film that I share the most. The raw power. I remember the first time I watched it, that moment, that momentum, of building up tension, building up interviews, cuts, the storytelling, up until the moment of, the rinci or that Basque shout, boom. What a scenic. And the silence, yeah. And with the years, you show it more, and I guess
that thing is not going to go anywhere. It's a classic. It really works very well. The character works very well. I still don't have it clear. Is Maite Mursego, or is a different musician?
No.
It's a different musician, isn't it?
Yeah. Let me double check, but she's no. But yeah, do you feel, Rafa, like there was, as a program, not all of them, but it seemed like there was, in many different ways, feminist messages, feminist stories, feminist forms. In the case of Bego, and in the case of Sin Dios ni Santa Maria, is more in the form, no? But some are more implicit and some are more explicit. But Maite Larburu is called. Maite Larburu is the
always it has a much longer something.
Do you feel, like it was particularly, it was not intentionally, but then watching the program again, like more feminist elements come to me when I finish watching the films.
I don't know if it's feminism or not, but Alberto, is 24 minutes past 2. And I think for the first broadcast, this has gone more or less well.
Yeah.
And we should really call it a day. You are your camera is from below and shows you there with the Estrella Galicia and that. Mine is from above, and I don't get.
It's like visual style, no? It's like Cervantes' perspective on the characters. I'm making myself bigger, and you're diminishing yourself. Is that what you're trying to say?
I don't know. That's a bit more elaborated than I wanted.
For next week, I can do this if you like it more.
Talking about Cervantes, Alberto.
You can see all the mess in my living room.
Talking about Cervantes, Alberto, do you have anything to say about that?
About Cervantes? Not just now. But oh yes, I have something to say.
Thank you. I'm drinking more. I'm drinking more, but it's not my fault. It's not my fault.
I can see there are less people connected
I
now.
didn't drink that much before I met Alberto.
But this is an important announcement. And anyway, the video is gonna stay. It's gonna stay there, so people will listen anyway.
I can edit some parts.
It seems like someone out there, like this initiative we had of bringing 90 essential short films of Spanish history, of the last decade of Spanish history, and showing these programs to people that are isolated online. And someone has joined the initiative, no? We're not that independent anymore.
Well, come on. We are as independent as we were, but thanks to Instituto Cervantes of London, or Cervantes Institute of London, we will be able to offer this broadcast in a bit more, in a richer way. And it's our intention to do it with guests that have been over here, some that haven't been over here, but they are in the program of the week. And then have a chat with everyone about what's going on in I think the culture industry as a whole is gonna suffer changes at short term thanks to this virus, this lockdown. And it would be great to ask people what they're doing, how it affected us, how it affected them, and how they how they see things coming. So keep watching, same place.
So what is the official announcement, Rafa?
The official announcement is that, you said it, is the Cervantes Institute of London will be supporting us from this week, from tomorrow, to make this program richer, actually to reach a wider audience. I think
from
Cervantes Australia and other people were interested in copying and sharing and offering this.
From tomorrow, from Monday, we will announce the program of week 2, and from tomorrow, this initiative, CinemaAttic Cuarentena, is organized by us, but also supported by Instituto Cervantes. So it's going to reach much more people across the globe, and we're incredibly happy that someone out there recognized the value of the project, and happy to start this journey with Instituto Cervantes, no? We're going to be interviewing directors. We're going to keep talking to you on Sunday at 1 p.m. We're going to keep sharing a vermouth. And a bit of heads up, the program next week is...
hardcore.
No?
Alberto has done something I don't like.
What?
Again, let's put my very favorite. It's difficult to realize that you have one film that is your very favorite. And my favorite short film of all times must be Time Code. And it's put it in the second week rather than build up and wait until we get thousands and thousands and thousands of people.
It's not.
It is.
It's not.
It is.
No.
Check.
No, it's not. It is in the list, but it's not in week 2. Hola. We are wrapping up. Rafa.
Oye.
Okay, Rafa.
Right. It's not virus. It's not virus. It's just.
I was gonna say. I thought you were gonna say Canis or other in the list, because it's really I feel like almost like we took it too far, or it's too strong. It feels like maybe we burned too many bullets next week, because the 7 films are really something powerful and are powerful. Sometimes they are unpleasant, maybe, but incredibly original. Some of them. We have zombies back. Like, we didn't have zombies for a while, and zombies are a big part of cinematic, so there's going to be zombies. But it's pretty powerful animation. I almost feel like I regret of putting so many great films together in one program. Hopefully people likes them, but it's going to be a test, really, because some of them are very original, but hard to watch emotionally or formally. But hopefully people likes
You are right. I got it wrong. I don't want to give spoilers. But yes. Time code is not in these weeks. Alberto, shall we
wrap up? Yeah. It's always good, Rafa, to see you and share 90 minutes and a couple of beers with you.
I haven't seen you for such a long time.
I don't know. I'm gonna give you a big hug. That's when we can.
Ooh.
In the meantime, I hope that the people that have been on and off and switching on to the broadcast, hopefully they like it. Maybe we need some comments, no? Like we need some people to tell us, yeah, keep doing it, guys, or something. I can see a lot of people are joining now. Carmen is joining now. A lot of pals are joining now. But this is the moment that we are finishing. So for next week, remember that is 1 p.m. UK time. We will be doing these chats about the program. Every week we announce a new program, open, online, with English subtitles. You can watch it. You can vote them. It's a silly thing, it's a small thing, but it's important for us. So please watch them. Tell us what you think, give us some feedback. Let us know if you like them or not, and vote them. We really enjoy going to the poll. No, I'm going to see how the poll is doing now. But as we stand, it looks like Skipper is the winner of week 1. Still some time until tonight to keep voting. But yeah, I'll see you next Sunday, Rafa.
Good to see you. Good to be here with CinemaAttic, and I'm looking forward to next Sunday, okay?
Likewise.
CinemaAttic, cheerio.
Adiós cinemáticos, adiós cinemáticas. Take good care, stay at home, stay safe.